Hello and welcome to class 10th, subject English, book First Flight, poem 3rd, A Tiger in the Zoo by Leslie Norris. The poem written by Leslie Norris explains the agony and helplessness of a caged tiger that lives in a zoo. The poet explains what his life could be if he had been a free animals that are caged by human beings for their own fun. Let's know about the poet. George Leslie Norris was a prize winning Welsh poet and short story writer. He is considered as most important Welsh writer of the post-war period and his literary works have won many prizes. His famous works are Finding Gold, The Loud Wonder, Phonics, Living Poets series, Ransoms, etc. Now, let's start the poem. First, I will explain the poem line by line by telling the word meanings, and then I will go to the figure of speeches whatsoever used in this poem. So, listen carefully and take your pen and copy too. A tiger in the zoo. He stalks in his vivid strips, the few steps of his cage on pads of velvet quiet in his quiet rage. Here, stalks means follows. Vivid means having clear, deep, bright color. Strips you students know, and you can see in the picture that he is having strips on his body of that is in black color. You can see in the picture. In the third line, pads of velvet here means the on his feet his pads which is very velvety. Velvet is a type of cloth which is very soft, so their legs, the lower part of their legs are very soft like a velvet structure. Okay. Rage means in the last line, last word, rage means violent, uncontrollable anger. Okay, so here poet wants to explain that he stalks in his vivid strips. Here he is the tiger who is roaming here and there in the cage, and having vivid strips means very clear and bright strips which is visible from far away. The few steps of his cage means his cage is very small for him and he can take only few steps in that cage. On pads of velvet quiet means his feet are so soft. His pads means panja in Hindi. Okay, so his pads are so soft that no voice is created when or made when he used to walk in his cage. Okay, in his quiet rage. Quiet rage means here, as I have told you, violent, uncontrollable anger means he cannot do anything in that cage, so he is controlling his anger and moving from one side to another very quietly. He should be lurking in shadow, sliding through long grasses near the water hole where plum deer pass. So he should. The poet is suggesting that that tiger should not be there in the zoos. Okay, he should be lurking in shadows. Lurking here means hiding for prey in the shadows of long bushes. Okay, long grasses. So poet is suggesting, or poet is telling that this tiger should not be there in the zoo. He should be lurking. He should be hiding or hunting here and there for his prey near the long grasses. For what? Near the water hole also, where plum deer. Plum here means healthy deers, fat hares used to come to have water near the water hole. Okay, so here the tiger's character is to hunt and eat. Okay, tiger is very dangerous animal, whose rage is controlled by keeping it in the zoo. So poet is saying that that tiger should be lurking in shadows, sliding through the long grasses, means moving here and there in the long grasses by hiding itself for its prey, for hunting its prey. Okay, for prey can be the deer also, who come near to the water hole to have water. He should be snarling around houses at the jungle's edge, baring his white fangs, his claws, terrorizing the village. Again, poet is suggesting in this paragraph that the tiger should be snarling. Snarling means making a warning sound or making warming sound. Okay, a large roaring sound, you can say. This is snarling. Word is used to show tigers sound, what type of sound he used to make. Okay, so he should snarling around the houses, means this tiger should wander here and there near the houses at the jungle edge. Okay, jungle edge means at the boundary of the jungle, where the jungle used to finish. Okay, barring his white flanks. Barring means sharpening his white fangs. Fangs means teeth. Okay, he should sharpen his white teeth and his claws. Claws are the uh, nails, okay, of his pads. Terrorizing the village. Terrorizing the village means making the villagers fearful due to his terror. Okay, by making a snarling sound, by roaming here and there, and making his white teeth barren. But he's looked in a concrete cell, his strength behind bars, stalking the length of his cage, ignoring visitors. But what the tiger is doing now? He is in the zoo. In this paragraph, the poet is saying that tiger is not roaming here and there in the village. He is there in the zoo only. Okay, so meanwhile, a poet wants to say that tigers should be in the jungle, not in the zoos. Okay, so again he is saying that, but tiger is there in the concrete cell. Concrete cell is the area or the place which is given to the tigers to live there. Okay, so concrete is the stone, you can say. It is a hard stone which is made up of building material, from to which the building is prepared, like cement and the different materials, sand and all. Okay, so which make a solid and a strong cell for the tiger. His strength behind bars means the tiger's strength is hidden behind the bars only, and he is just stalking here and there, moving here and there, and uh, measuring the length of the cage. Stalking means moving one side to another for measuring the cage. His cage is very small, by ignoring the visitors, means he is not giving interest on the visitors who used to came to see that tiger. Why he is not giving the interest, or why he is ignoring the visitor? Because if he will see the visitors, he will again come to his quiet rage, violent, uncontrollable anger, and he will not be able to control himself. Okay, so he is just ignoring those visitors. He hears the last voice at night, the patrolling cars, and stares with his brilliant eyes at the brilliant stars. Okay, so in the last paragraph, here again the poet is talking about the tiger who is living in the zoo. Poet is saying that what at night tiger used to do in the zoo. He hears the last voice at night, means city voice. You can say what is the last voice of the city. That patrolling cars, means the cars which used to wander here and there, the cars of police, you can say, who used to wander here and there to look after the city, that whether it is anywhere going wrong or what is going. Okay, so they used to do patrolling of the city. So the tiger used to listen the sound of that patrolling car, and what else he used to do? He used to stare on those twinkling stars at the bright night. This all the tiger used to do. Now let's discuss the figure of speeches of each paragraph, what is described in this poem. First of all, we will talk about the rhyme scheme. In each paragraph of this poem, you will see the rhyme scheme of A, B, C, B. Means you can see the last words which is creating the rhyme scheme of this paragraph. Stripes, cage, quiet, rage. Cage is rhyming with rage. Okay, so A is not rhyming with quiet. So first stripe is A, cage is B, quiet is not rhyming, so it is C. B is rhyming with rage is rhyming with cage, so it is B only. Okay, so rhyme scheme is used in the whole poem is A, B, C, B. Okay, so the next figure of speech is personification. Students, what is personification? A comparison between a living and non-living thing, or a character given to any living organism, to any other creature. Okay, so here he is used. As you all know, students, for animals we used it. Okay, we used to write it, but here poet has used he. So this he in the next paragraph, in the second paragraph also, in the first line you can see, and in the third paragraph also poet has used he to show the character of this tiger. So this is what personification used by the poet. Another figure of speech is used, enjambment. Enjambment is what? When any line is written without any punctuation mark. So you can see in the first line there is no any punctuation mark, and then that line is finished in the second line. Okay, so this is what? This is enjambment. Same it is there in the second line of the second paragraph, that sliding through long grasses near the water hole where plum deer pass. Okay, so this is also what? This is enjambment. Another figure of speech is imagery. Imagery is what? That it is this paragraph, these paragraphs is described by the tiger, described by the poet so nicely that you can imagine by closing your eyes that tiger is moving from one place to another, and how it looks like that. It is having vivid strips on his back, and he is taking few steps in the cage, and his pads are velvety. Okay, so you can think or you can imagine. Same you can see in the second paragraph, that how wild tiger is lurking here in the shadows and sliding through the long grasses and waiting for his prey. Okay, a plum deer. So this imagery is used in the each paragraph. You can imagine very nicely, because every image is described very clearly by the poet in this poem. Next is consonance. Consonant sounds, here you can see, which is used in this poem. First of all, what is consonance? Consonance is the use of consonant letters to show rhyme scheme. Okay, so you can see in the first line only, stalks and strips, ss sound is there. Steps of his, ss sound is there. In the second para you can see should and shadow. Okay, and then in the next third paragraph, should, snarling, ss sound is there. um, Barring and flanks, g sound you can hear. A terrorizing village, g sound is there. Okay, so this is what consonants is used. Then assonance. Assonance are the vowel words which are used to create rhyme scheme. Again, in the first line you can see I is used in various places. Okay, and consonants can be used in between, in middle, or wherever in the word or the sentence. Okay, so in I is there, his I is there, vivid I is there, strips I is there. So 4 times 5 times this I is used. In the next line also you can see ee is used at various places. So here assonance is also used. Again, next is oxymoron figure of speech. Oxymoron figure of speech is that figure of speech which used to show contradictory characters in the same sentence. Okay, together. So here in the last line you can see quiet rage. Quiet is known for silence, and rage is known for violent uncontrollable anger, to show violent uncontrollable anger. So these two words are opposite words which are used together for the tiger. So this is which figure of speech? Oxymoron figure of speech. Next is metaphor. Metaphor is used in the third line. Pads of velvet. Pads of velvet means velvet is a cloth, students. Okay, which is very soft. So that cloth is compared with the tiger's paws. Okay, so this is the two different things which is compared together. What is called metaphor? Okay, which is called metaphor. So till yet we have discussed 8 figure of speeches. Now come to alliteration. Alliteration is the repeating sound. You can see in the last line, that is plum passes. PP sound, consonant sounds which is used in the starting of the word to create rhyme scheme, is called alliteration. So plum and pass, which is creating rhyme, and it is what? It is alliteration. In the next paragraph you can see this word snarling. Snarling is used to show the sound of the tiger, and this is called onomatopoeia figure of speech. Okay, onomatopoeia figure of speech expresses the sound of any animal from which we used to imagine which animal is it. So snarling word is used to show the sound of the tiger. I hope all this figure of speeches you have understood, students. I have told you all the word meanings, okay, and given you the meaning of the poem also, and all the figure of speeches. I hope you have understood all. Here is some questions which you have to attend and do in your copies. If any doubt is there, you can go to the comment box and clear your doubts from there. I hope you have understood all the figure of speeches and the poem too. Thank you and have a nice day.